I have been meaning to do a video showing you some of my bottle collection. This is just a really small part of it, but there's some interesting pieces here. I'm having trouble doing this though because this is in the landing of my stairway and it's rather dark. So I'm going to try to do the best I can in showing you some of these pieces. One of my favorites is this conical ink bottle. I didn't clean it up any. It's still got the original dirt in it, encrusted in it. It is exactly as I found it. They were doing a house tear out not far from where I live. The house was built in the late 1870s, early 1880s, and this was underneath the house. Very nice old conical ink bottle. Everybody loves cobalt blue bottles. Let's see if I can get this up by the light. You can see how dark it is. But anyways, in digging over the years for bottles, I've found probably hundreds of the bromo-seltzer bottles. There's a wide variety of them, though. They all are basically the same style, but depending on the era they were made in, there are slight differences. This one probably was from the 1890s. I have one here that I really like, even though it's missing its bottom. I don't care. This is an earlier one. You can tell the difference in the sides of it. The shape. This was probably done in a wooden mold. And then we have a little one here, little bromo-seltzer bottle. The rim is a little bit nicked up, but that's okay. That one was left how I found it too. Now over here, this bottle without a top. Boy, I wish we could have found the whole thing. My friend Gil and I were walking along the Saginaw River one day, and he pulled this out of the bank. This would have been a blob top bottle, and on it says, it's hard to see, but it says City Pop Works, East Saginaw, Michigan, because the west side and the east side were two separate political entities back at the time when this was made. This would have been a blob top bottle, and it would have been produced probably in the late 1870s, that era. Even though it's broken, it's rare, so I kept it. Here's another Saginaw bottle. This one is from a drugstore, Cornelius Stafford, and you see the ES on it for East Saginaw. This is a blob top, and really nice addition to the collection. My friend Gil dug that one up. I don't find a whole lot of bottles that have the labels on them, but I had, over the years I've found many of these type bottles, and I always wondered what was in them, and I knew they were a condiment bottle, but I didn't know exactly what. This one has the original label. It is Libby's Queen Olives, so that's pretty cool. I'm thinking that one probably goes back to about 1900, right in that era. In the shadow box here, I have a collection of flasks. There's 6 flasks in there. In a previous video, I showed you this cobalt blue flask, and I wanted to protect it a little bit because it is kind of a rare piece. The other ones are typical whiskey flasks of the 1890s, 1900 era. These two little bottles are kind of neat. They don't have labeling on them, obviously. The original cork and wax seal is still intact on them. These contain mercurochrome or methylate. I hated that stuff when I was a kid because my mother would put it on her cuts and things, and oh my gosh, that stuff. Well, the methylate burnt. The mercurochrome didn't. She always got the methylate because she used to tell me when you feel it, the burning, it's the little bacteria or whatever being killed off, and they're digging into you, something like that. Anyways, Mom was a neat person. This is a tiny flask. Really small. You can let me set it up against one of the regular size flasks, and you can see how small it is. It may not have been whiskey. It may have actually been medicinal. Well, we'll leave it laying down there for now so I don't break it. Another small bottle. I love to find the small bottles. This one says on it Kemp's Balsam. Kemp's Balsam. Kind of interesting. And in the little bottles you find so many interesting shapes, and this is one of the small ones. I'm thinking probably cologne, maybe. I have a lot of bottles that were used for alcohol. I mean, spirits, drinking spirits. Let me show you this one down here first, though. This is a huge champagne bottle. Not real old. It's martini. It's pre barcodes, but this I measured it. It's about 24 inches tall and big around. That thing is so heavy, but I don't know why somebody would have a bottle of champagne that big unless you're having a really massive party or something. I don't know. But it was a really interesting bottle. Like I said, not real old. I picked it up beside the road, so I didn't pay anything for it, which I thought was kind of neat. What I like about the antique spirits bottles, beer, whatever, are the tops, because they show the widest variety of difference in the types. This one, you can't really see the seam on the, well, maybe you can on the picture, but it goes back to the 1880s, 1890s. The top piece was actually added after the bottle itself was blown. There's a lot of flaws, if you will. Like this one, the neck is crooked. It bends to the left, and again, it's a different kind of top. This one, I probably had a ceramic closure on it. And let's go up here, make it a little bit easier. This one back here is, it's a basic bottle shape. This one is really heavy, and it's marked on the bottom. Let's see what it says. OOC11. But anyways, it interested me because of the top, and you can also see how it had some kind of a banding seal around the top. This one in the back is much taller than the other ones. I'm thinking this was whiskey or something. The bottle has an upkick in the bottom, and another interesting piece. Now let's go down here a little bit. This is where it gets, unfortunately, dark. But here is an interesting piece. This is from the Kern Brewing Company from Port Huron, Michigan. This is probably more recent vintage. This is probably 1920s. And I actually dug this one in my backyard when I lived a couple blocks from here. This bottle is black glass. You cannot see through it. And it says on the bottom, Mission Dry Sparkling, probably sparkling water, but it doesn't say water, but Mission Dry Sparkling. Interesting bottle because it's solid black. Then I frequently come up with the very dark green. You can't, I guess you can't see through this one, but this is dark green glass. And again, the seam only goes up to here, which means this part was applied after the bottle was itself made. This looks like it would have been a 3-part mold, and so that's kind of cool. Coming over here, I don't know if you can see in there, but this glass is full of imperfections, and that's one thing collectors, myself included, like about the old glass: the imperfections that are in it, the air bubbles, the things that make every bottle distinctly different from the next, because none of them would have the same imperfections. Now let's move down here to this shelf. Here is a favorite of mine. This is Hood's, I hope you can see that, Hood's sarsaparilla. That's how it should be said, I think. And this bottle has the seam line, again, going up the neck and stopping here. Very cool bottle. Only one like that I've ever found. And actually, that was dug here in Saginaw, Michigan also. I said there were a wide variety of different styles on the small bottles. This one, for example, is rather cone-shaped, and it has some very light embossing on it. It's CPB bluing, so it would have been for washing clothes when they used to. I don't know if people use bluing anymore or not, but that's what that was for. These little tiny perfume bottles, I love these kind of bottles. These are probably from the 20s or 30s, and the shape and style and ornamentation is just so cool on those little old bottles like that. I absolutely love finding the miniature bottles. Here's one that's not so stylish, but it's so tiny. And this is from the 1880s, 1890s. From the 40s, here's a bourbon whiskey bottle, G&W, Mountain Ridge bourbon whiskey. I found this actually in a friend's basement, stuck up in the wooden cross beams. So, like I said, I don't find a lot of bottles that have the labels on them. When I do, I tend to treasure them because you just don't find that many. And sometimes just a common bottle that like this is interesting because of its size. I said I love the miniature bottles, but I love the big bottles too because they just look so big, you know. But this one too, judging by the neck and the top, is probably from the 1890s. And then here's another condiment bottle. Remember I showed you the olive one a little bit ago. This one is a lot different in style. It's still a slender bottle. It would have had some kind of a cap that would have fit in it to close it. The seam line goes up again to here. There are no markings on it to identify manufacturer, but that's okay. Then occasionally I find the triangular bottles. I believe these were condiment bottles also. This one is again unmarked. And let me see if I can find any other really cool. They're all cool and interesting, but this one's pretty neat too because it's embossed, and it says syrup of hypophosphate. Okay, sorry, I had a little disruption. I'm gonna have to close this video here because my camera is running out of, or SD card's running out of time. But I wanted to show you just a few of the bottles, and you know, there's such an amazing variety out there of bottles to be found. So I hope you enjoyed this. Have a great day, and God bless. Oh, wait, I want to show you one more. This little lady of Spain, liqueur bottle. And she's 1940s. The bottle's hand-painted. Still has some liqueur in her. But I found that, I don't know where. But anyways, have a great day, and as always, God bless.